Well, so I have notes. So if I look down, it's because I want to make sure I stay on the right road. I didn't have any energy 3 years ago, and prior to that, but 3 years ago, I really noticed my energy level was really low. I had body pain all over my body. My joints didn't want to work. My doctors wanted to put me on pain pills and steroids, and I felt that that's not a fix, that is a band-aid. And the reason why I know that is because my mother had lupus. She was diagnosed with lupus at 32. She was on prednisone. And my mother passed away 8 days before her 68th birthday. And I know it was from steroids. And I was seeing my life starting to head towards hers. And it's really scared me because I've always had autoimmune problems for the last 30 plus years, starting with chronic fatigue syndrome and epstein barr. And that was tested with blood work with the epstein barr. When I was in my early 30s, I would like take my kids to school, go to work, come home, lay down on the sofa while they're doing their homework. I just had no energy. There's some back noise. And so I would worry on how I'm going to get through the day. And instead of getting better every year, I was getting worse. I have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, sarcoidosis with biopsies, Lynch's sclerosis with biopsies. And I was at that point introduced to stem cells. And knowing that it was only a 50% chance that they were going to work for a ridiculous amount of money that was going to come out of my pocket, I was really scared. I was walking into the store one day. I'd have my kids run into the store for me, who my daughter lives with us. She's in her late 30s. And I just couldn't do it. And one day I was walking into the store for my car and my legs felt like rubber. And I'm thinking, I need a walker. I'm 65 years old and I need a walker. All I kept seeing was my mom, my mom, my mom. And I was really almost wanted to give up because, what am I going to do? Well, my friend Dina Solomon messaged me and said, I think I found something that's going to help you and your daughter. My daughter also has a lot of issues. And I said, well, what is it this time? Everyone wants me to take a pill. Everybody wants me to take this new thing that's out. And she says, well, it can help regenerate your stem cells. And I'm like, yeah, right, And I almost started to cry because I knew about stem cells, but I didn't think I had any, and that how can they activate my stem cells? So I did my research and I was with another company. I was at an event there and I started looking for information. And I just thought, I got to give it a try. I have to see what this is going to do for me. So on June 15th, 2023, I purchased my pack. I decided to go with the largest pack just because I wanted to, if this worked, I wanted to be able to help other people. Never thinking I was going to do this as a business. And within 2-3 weeks, I looked at my daughter and she looked at me and I said, we haven't been taking naps. I have some more energy. Do you think these patches are working? Well, she developed a stye in her eye. So I called my upline. I said, what should we do? I said, the doctor said that they might have to lance it. And she had an event coming up in 3 days that she had to do. So we put the patch right by her eye, woke up the next morning, and the stye was gone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is this really, how has this happened? And so I was like just so overwhelmed with this result that we started telling people about it. At the same time, I realized that I have my fibromyalgia is not gone, but it's 95% better. I don't have to sit with the heating pad on my lap with my hands and my feet with the heating pad. Matter of fact, at this time, I don't even know where that heating pad is. All I was using was X39 and Eon at this time because I didn't want to complicate it for myself or my daughter. She has migraines. She noticed that her migraines were like almost going away at the time before she had to go get medicine. I realized 2 months later, I didn't write down everything I had, so I didn't know. 2 months later, someone's talking about being dizzy, and I realized I had vertigo for 20 years, tried chiropractic, everything. I tried everything. And then other things, I didn't have it anymore. I'm kind of losing it because I was shocked. When I would get to bed, I would lay down and I'd have to lay there for a minute before I could roll over. When I would get up to go to the bathroom, I had to sit there for a minute before I can go into the bathroom. And I didn't realize it till a couple of days later that I wasn't doing that anymore. My dentist even noticed that she didn't have to wait a little bit when she put me down, and that when I got up, I could walk out of her office without having to sit there for a few minutes. I remember one time sitting there for 5 minutes because I was so dizzy. I could close my hands. This is the first time I've closed my hands in like 5, 6 years. The one big thing that happened to me is I ended up with AFib. And with my research, when it happened, I realized it was from our fabulous vaccine. I ended up with AFib. And my AFib got better, but it wasn't gone. So I did have an ablation. But I'm going to tell you, everyone I know that's had the ablations had AFib after, and I haven't. It has not come back, and I know it's the patches. So what can I say? This has like been a miracle. I got my life back, and that's what I always tell people. And I've been on Zooms all through COVID, and people are saying, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They said, "You're different. You have more energy. You're the old Gail that we used to know. What are you doing?" And I don't know. I pray and thank God every day that God gave David this for all of us. It's just a miracle. And it just makes me want to cry.
Yes. And Gail, it makes me want to cry. It's amazing. I mean, it's kind of interesting because I heard you after you listed like 5 or 6 things, which I'm going to reflect back to you in a moment. You said, but the one big thing, and I'm thinking to myself, do you mean like the 6 big things? Like, wow, and what I just really heard you say is you got your life back. And really, you were suffering 30, 40 years with this stuff. In the last 10 years, it had gotten so bad. You told me you were heading towards the walker. You felt terrible, no energy. You have 3 stairs in your home. You couldn't get up the stairs by yourself. You couldn't go into the store by yourself. I mean, was really starting to limit the quality of your life. And then you shared with me, that you at 2 weeks you were no more naps. You were getting up the steps. You were going into the store by yourself. Your energy was increasing. Of course, the vertigo was gone. Your husband said that you were no longer complaining about all your pain. That's huge. That right there is like, happy wife, happy life, right? Mm-hmm. And that you were a completely different person. And of course, and then the AFib you just shared us with, wow, that's absolutely amazing. I mean, basically, like you just said, you got your life back.
Yeah. And Kathleen, I am not a complainer because I listened to it my whole life with my mom, and I wasn't going to be that way. So the complaining he saw was the pain that I had every night with how I was acting. Yeah. And I got on these patches while he was in Hawaii on Maui, and I didn't tell him because I was going to ask for forgiveness instead of asking him to do it. And he's so happy that we're doing it. We're all doing it together, and the results of our whole family has been just amazing.